Another big weekend, but got one left.
One big one left.
Yeah, Texas, California. Don't forget about the Carolinas. They'll be playing this coming weekend too.
They will. That's right.
But we'll be in Texas. I can't wait.
We will be in Texas, Zach.
Oh, it's loading still, huh? I bet you were on.
Yeah, let's live. Let's go. All right, we are live. That's Zack Poff. I am Steve Montoya. We're breaking down your football rankings presented by the Army National Guard. Only a few weeks left. A few states left playing this weekend. Some states finished up last weekend.
Yeah.
There's some big games, and it shaked up the rankings. Let's take a look, Zach.
Yeah,
what's new?
They did. The Woodlands, man, from 24
the real deal, huh?
to 10. They're 15-0. They are playing this Saturday at AT&T Stadium after they beat Allen, previously undefeated. You know you should jump up a lot. Guess how many times Allen's lost since 2012? I'll save you 4 times. Jeez. That's it. So they're playing well. I had to move Lake Travis up, man. They keep rolling team every week. They're up to 8 in the top 10 now. And St. Thomas Aquinas, they have 2 losses. One came to Gorman in triple overtime. The other came to Booker T. Big time controversy in that one. They're playing as well as anyone. They are at number 6 right now after they won their 3rd consecutive state title in Florida. So St. Joseph's Prep also moved up to 13 from 18 also too. They beat a very good Central Catholic team.
All right, let's talk about where we're headed this weekend, and that is Texas. We're going to give you guys the experience of somebody from out of state coming to watch some Texas high school football. If you're living in Texas and you know some things, hit up Zach or I.
Let us know.
Let us know what we should do.
What to do.
Yeah, who should we tailgate with? Who should we hang out with?
We got to be careful though, tailgating. So.
But yeah, we got to take in the full experience.
That's true, right? So get those ribs going, baby. Let's go.
All right, leave your comments about this or any football-related content. We'll get to that, whether it's rankings, big games this weekend, what you saw last weekend. We want to know. There's several top Texas teams in the top 10 that we'll get to see this weekend. But let's go back to this past weekend. And Zach, we saw, I know you and I were watching it
crazy
and talking about it as it's going on, but one of the best games we've seen all year in Georgia.
Yeah, it was one of the top games. Roswell and Grayson, 2 top 10 teams. You get a look, Roswell jumped up early there as they got a touchdown to Corey Reed in the first. Malik Willis had a big time game, the quarterback for Roswell. He's a Virginia Tech commit. Fast forward to the 4th quarter, Jaquavius Lane, 62-yard touchdown. Grayson wasn't doing anything. They had 3 first downs leading into that drive. They had 4, including that touchdown. Down by 1 after the missed extra point. Jaquavius Lane again. He does that. They take the lead. They get the 2-point conversion. Now it's 2013. You think Grayson's got it. There's a minute left. Roswell then drives down the field. Last play of the game, Willis hits Kentrell Barber.
Man, that could have been a pick.
Tie game. Game went to overtime. Grayson ends up kicking the field goal in their first possession. And, tough for Roswell. Their kicker just pushed a little bit. It was about a 40-yard field goal, so a very tough kick. But that was one of the best games of the year. I know it wasn't the 49-47 type of game we saw with Bosco and Centennial, but these were 2 top 10 teams in the state of Georgia playing for the state title. It goes to overtime. Grayson finds a way to win it. First state title for Grayson since 2011. Roswell, on the other hand, 2nd consecutive season they lose in the state championship game, but they have gone 28-2 over the last 2 seasons. Coach Ford has done an outstanding job with Roswell. They'll probably be right back in the thick of things next year, too, with Georgia.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about this time of year, too. Obviously, teams are so good at this point that you're going to see some amazing games. All right, let's get to some comments here. Columbus West all day. Catherine says, glad to see the Woodlands. Catherine, we got more on the Woodlands coming up, plus Zach and I are going to be there to see the Woodlands in person.
First Lake Travis.
All right. Aaron says, your rankings are horrible. Aaron, tell us what you mean by that. If you're just going to leave that comment, why don't you explain a little bit more on what you mean? Maybe let us know what your rankings should be, and then we'll judge those. But we do want to hear from you. Why are these rankings horrible?
Explain it a little bit.
Let us know. All right, St. Joseph Prep getting some love.
Yeah, they're at 13 now. The Philly Power, they had a big win over Central Catholic. We're going to hit on them in a little bit too.
What happened to Carroll City in the national rankings?
They are close. They do have 3 losses this year. But hey, they get to hang out with Rick Ross.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool to
video.
see that. Rick Ross in the locker room there helping these boys out after the game. So that's their ranking right there. They get to chill with Rick Ross, baby.
All right, Bishop Gorman, number 1, no comparison.
Yeah.
Woodlands, way better than DeSoto. You agree?
I don't.
All right, but let's hit on the Woodlands.
Yeah.
Why don't we get to them, because we've seen a few Woodlands comments coming in. So Woodlands right there, number 10. What do you like about them?
What I like about them, man, is they're a complete team. You get to look at their quarterback, Aaron Schmidt. He's a big-time QB. He had over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns in this 36-28 win over Allen. Keeson Carter, big-time receiver, he had nearly 200 yards in that game. Dylan Casey also had over 100 yards. They both caught a touchdown. But, Steve, the reason for the big jump is they go from 24 to 10. Beating Allen is very tough to do, and they won by 8, but they pretty much dominated the game from start to finish, and that's why they make a big-time jump into the top 10. The last time they made it to a state championship game was back in 2003. They had some guy named Danny Amendola on that team. I think this win, though, against Allen was still the biggest win in school history, of course, unless they beat Lake Travis on Saturday.
Yeah, and Lake Travis is no joke either.
Yeah, Lake Travis has been rolling people week in and week out. They're playing as well as anybody in the country.
All right, let's continue on here with a few more comments. And St. John Bosco, all the way, that defense is the best in SoCal. St. John Bosco will be at Sac State to play De La Salle. That's probably the best, on paper, the best game in California, although many think St. John Bosco is going to roll this game, but it is De La Salle.
Exactly. At the end of the day, a lot of people thought Corona Centennial were going to beat De La Salle last year. De La Salle won 28-21. I think for De La Salle, it's going to be important in this one to get a lead early, make it an ugly game, kind of a dogfight, low-scoring game, because Bosco has some playmakers on offense. I don't know if De La Salle can score as much as St. John Bosco, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be a competitive game, though. I think Bosco's going to find a way to pull it out, but we'll see.
All right, that one is going. That will be the last high school football game in the country, because that one kicks off late Saturday night on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So that will be your last high school football game. Though there may be a few other that trickle late, but that will probably be the last, especially national
implication game for sure. Yeah.
All right, Bishop Gorman, more love. Manola highlights. You want to see some of those? Maybe we'll get to those, Jeremy, at some point. Cal Allen Cats in the house. Grayson and Roswell was the best game I've ever been to, even though he wanted Roswell to win.
That's saying something right there.
If you paid to get into that game, it was worth the money.
Yeah, and it's cool you're at the Georgia Dome too, you know. I mean, that place was live and kicking, man. It was a good game from start to finish, a defensive battle, but then the offenses came alive in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter too. It was a good game. I was hoping Roswell made that field goal, get a little extra time, go to double overtime, but
yeah, those are the games where it's like, it sucks who lost.
Yeah, like there really wasn't a loser in that game. I mean, Roswell proved they're one of the best teams in the country too.
All right, let's keep it going. American Heritage state champs.
Yeah, it was their 3rd state title in a 4-year span. I have them at number 11 in my rankings, and they did something they never have, according to the Miami Herald. First time American Heritage has finished a season undefeated. So not bad for head coach Patrick Surtain to do that in his first season, calling the shots there.
All right, Cathedral Prep in Pennsylvania getting some love there. Jose says, should public schools play private schools in state playoffs? That's we could have a whole nother show on that.
We could. So we'll save that for another time, right? I don't want to get into trouble, so.
All right, Torres says he would like to see the top Georgia teams play the top Texas teams. Those would be some great games. We'd like to see that too.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
All right, what happened to Hoover? They were a top 10 not long ago. Well,
I mean, they might have been in the computer rankings, but I believe I have them at 24 this week. I couldn't put them ahead of Allen because Allen beat them in a head-to-head matchup. You see Allen there at 22. They were at 7 previously, but they lost to the Woodlands. Hoover, a team though that one of the best defensive teams, and they knocked off McGill-Tulane, a team that had a 20-game winning streak too. So Hoover, they're playing as well as anybody, but they did have 2 losses, one to Allen, one to Grayson. So I couldn't put them past the top 20 because they couldn't beat 2 teams that were previously in the top 10.
All right, Jamie says, how about Oakdale? The Mustangs moving on after beating Sutter High School.
It's like they're playing in these CIF bowl games every single season. They just get it done.
Yep, they for sure are. Coach Merzon there at Oakdale's very good coach. The only thing about Oakdale, okay, Jamie, is that they do not put in their stats into MaxPreps.
Put them in. Come on, Coach.
I know Coach doesn't like that. I know, I've talked to him before, but
just do it.
Do it. Come on, Jamie, get him going.
It's not that hard. Listen, I mean, if you're doing it because you think another coach is going to be able to game plan for you, who cares?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Get it done because, we like to pick all section, all state and stuff. We look at that stuff.
Makes our job easier.
All right, Grayson versus Bishop Gorman would be a good game.
Listen, I don't think anybody in the country could beat Bishop Gorman. I'm just going to say that.
Ooh.
I don't.
All right, Alex says Refugio, Steel, and Cal Allen will take state championships in their divisions in Texas. We'll get to see.
Yeah, we'll get to find out. How cool is that, too? Jerry Jones' grandson gets to play in a state title game in Jerry Jones' world.
I know, that's pretty cool. They mentioned that last night during the game.
That.
All right, DeSoto is overrated every year. I don't know if you could say that.
They are playing in the state title in the 6A D2, so they listen, I get it. They fall behind sometimes. They get the job done in the fourth quarter, though. They are a fourth quarter team when the pressure's on. That's when Sean Robinson plays at his best. Of course, defense this past weekend for DeSoto was the answer. They had 5 turnovers in the second half alone and 2 fumble returns for touchdowns that really were the deciding scores. But I don't know if you can say overrated, though. You're 15-0 in the state of Texas. You're playing some big-time programs like DeSoto is. I think they deserve that number 3 spot.
Yep. All right. St. Joe's Prep getting more love. DeMatha, the best non-Florida East Coast program, Brandon says.
Georgia's got some dogs, too.
Yeah.
But, hey, DeMatha, though, that DMV area is very underrated, and it might not be as good as Texas, Florida, and California, but we had Chase Young on our podcast, and he believes it's still the top place to play high school football, and they went undefeated this year, too. A big-time year for DeMatha, and they beat St. John's twice. St. John's a very good football team also.
All right, we're going to keep the comments going because, you know what, that's the best part of this all is because we get to connect with you,
exactly.
the user.
I still want to know why he said the rankings are bad.
I know. I'm still waiting for that comment to come back.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis Warriors, underrated New York PSAL champions. Congrats to the Curtis Warriors. Cass Tech getting some love. Everybody wants to see IMG against Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
Steel Knights.
We do too.
Yeah, we do. Steel Knights getting some love. Cartersville Canes. The field goal kickers determined the game between Roswell and Grayson.
You know what, though? You got to admire Grayson's kicker. Had a missed extra point, had one blocked, and he ends up hitting the game-winning field goal in that first overtime because Roswell didn't answer, so it came back for the youngster.
Yep. All right. We're saying Texas football is the mecca of football. We look forward to seeing that.
Someone just say Texas football is terrible?
Yeah, well, that's funny.
Wow. No comment.
Yeah, no comment there because that's just laughable. Temple Wildcats are going to take over Jerry's World.
Oh, okay.
St. Joe's Prep state champs. Jamie says she'll do her. Is it her or him?
I'll do my best.
We'll say Jamie's going to do the best to get Coach to put in stats. We love that.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Please explain how Alito is still ranked so low.
Listen, I understand they're playing in Texas, but they don't have that signature win. All these teams you see here in the top 25, they have all beat a team ranked in the top 25 or near the rankings. Alito just doesn't have that marquee win. Strength of schedule is a big-time factor, one of the most important things when the rankings come out, and they just don't have that. Listen, Alito's been one of the best teams in all of Texas since the 2000s, and but at the end of the day, there's hundreds, thousands of high schools where it's hard to really pick the top 25, especially if you don't have that strength of schedule. So.
Yep. All right. Kenneth says, come early enough for some brisket. Is Stonebreaker coming with you guys? He is coming with us.
He'll be there. He'll be there.
So maybe we'll come, Kenneth, and join you for some briskets.
Stonebreaker.
All right. Lucha High champion 2 years in a row. Congrats to them. IMG, I bet, could play with them. Probably talking about Bishop Gorman.
Yeah. I think it'd be I don't know. I think Gorman beats anybody they play.
All right, Bosco and Gorman, who would win in a rematch? Obviously, you're probably saying Gorman.
Listen, they won by 15 the first time around. I understand Bosco's playing way better right now, but Gorman finished the season strong too. I know they're playing against Nevada opponents, so it's hard to really get a tell on them, but Liberty's a very good team. They scored 84 points on them, so that's pretty hard to do.
All right, you left out Dillon, South Carolina.
It's the same thing again, the strength of schedule thing, but they're right there close to the 25 and close to the bubble teams too. I mean, Dillon's always a big-time program out in South Carolina.
All right, they should have an 8-team national playoff bracket.
I agree to that, and that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, but the thing that makes it so tough is every state ends at a different time, and the state governing bodies, some allow their teams to play late, some don't. Don't see it happening, but it would be awesome. You bet, Lou. Thanks for the shout out. You bet anytime. Bishop is the best. The Woodlands, Grant Milton. Get to see him.
Yeah, Grant Milton too. That's Woodlands has put this season now for Grant Milton. He went through a head injury a few weeks ago, had to get brain surgery, and the Woodlands right now they're trying to win it for Grant Milton. It's a very sad story, and obviously we hope for a full recovery for Grant Milton. But the Woodlands, you saw it last week and the week before, they're playing for something right now, much more than a state title, and they want to win this for Grant Milton. And it's cool to see a team rally around that. And obviously, we hope Grant Milton has a full recovery and is able to get back to 100%.
For sure. All right. How do you determine the national champion?
It's tough, but at the end of the day, you go by strength of schedule, what the score was against when you played those good teams. And strength of schedule, though, I think is the most key factor. You look at a team like IMG Academy and Bishop Gorman, in my eyes, those two teams probably had the toughest out-of-league schedules, and they both rolled through a lot of teams, too. So strength of schedule is usually the most key factor, and obviously head-to-head matchups against top 25 teams. Those are usually the two things I look at the most, too. So
yeah, and it's almost impossible for us to get to every state to see the caliber of teams, but I know Zach watches film on these guys each and every week. And after we watch some games in Texas on Saturday night, I'm sure we will talk about who's going to be the national
champion. That'll be a fun flight home. That'll be fun.
Right. All right. Aaron comes back, says your rankings are fine, but he feels the Woodlands and DeSoto should be switched. Woodlands has beaten Katy and Allen. DeSoto overrated.
Listen,
get bounced from the playoffs.
I get
past 2 years.
I get the Katy thing, but at the end of the day, too, Katy isn't the same team they have been in the past. And the Woodlands, too. The reason why the Woodlands is at 10 now is they weren't in the top 25. You look at DeSoto, on the other hand, they started the season right around the top 10. So they haven't had to make those big-time jumps every week, as the Woodlands just got in the rankings a few weeks ago, and now they're in the top 10. But at the end of the day, if the Woodlands wins the 6A Division I state championship over a very good Lake Travis team, there's still a potential chance they jump ahead of DeSoto, because that would be a big win. Lake Travis, in my opinion, is playing better than anybody in the state of Texas right now, so that would be a huge win. But DeSoto, they got a big-time game, too, against number 16 Steel, so they got to win that game also.
For sure.
You know what? I actually believe that I think Steele's got a chance to beat DeSoto, too. I think that game might end up being the best high school football game of the season. You look at Steele, they were 23 last week, now they're number 16, loaded with talent. You got Caden Stearns right there, 2018 LSU commit, top safety in the state of Texas. You also got Xavier Martin, the quarterback. This team is loaded, and they're trying to win a state championship for the first time since 2010. They're playing DeSoto. It's crazy to think, though, this is the first time the Eagles have ever been in a state championship game. They're loaded with talent, too, with Sean Robinson. This is going to be a big-time game. But Steele was another team that made a nice jump in the rankings this week, too. Another big win to advance to the state championship game. They're playing great football right now.
All right, and then Frank says, how come Coco's still at number 25? They beat Booker T, who beat St. Thomas Aquinas. and Southridge, the 8A champs. Cocoa beat Trinity Christian, the 2A champs. Let's see a little bit more here.
Yeah, the reason for Cocoa staying at 25 is because this past week, 2 top 25 teams lost, but one of those was Roswell, who played Grayson, the number 4 team. So Roswell dropped from 10 to 12. And then the other game that featured a loss was Allen. They have 1 loss this year against the Woodlands. And I feel like if Allen and Cocoa played, I'd probably still lean with Allen, and that's why I kept them at 22 and Cocoa's at 25. And I think Allen had a couple more big wins this year than Cocoa, because still they're playing some big-time opponents in the state of Texas. So.
Yep. All right. So East should be higher than Bingham, and we're gonna see this weekend if De La Salle can knock off St. John Bosco. That all of a sudden shows the power of East for sure. All right. So that will be a big game for East fans to watch in terms of the national rankings, if you're just looking at those. All right, we're going to wrap up. I know we had more on our script to get to,
but we were interacting
with fans. And hey, we're headed to Texas. We're going to bring you the live experience. We've all heard about, how big those games are and how many fans get there, what they do there. We're going to bring you what it's like to enjoy a Texas high school football game. Give us some thoughts on that. We'll be on Snapchat. We'll be doing Facebook Lives from there. We'll have videos and photos up on MaxPreps throughout. From the time we step on the plane till the time we hit Jerry's World, we'll be there.
Let's go. I wish my Bucks didn't get flexed out, though. We would have been able to go to that game on Sunday.
I know.
They're playing too well.
We would have gone to the Cowboys game, but I'm glad they lost last night. Sorry, all you Texas fans.
Wow, that's not how you want to roll into Texas and go to Cowboys Stadium. Come on, man.
I'm going to pull a TO on the Star. I'm a Niner fan.
Watch out for Emmett.
All right. Thanks to everybody, and we appreciate you being with us all year long. Next week, we will crown the mythical national champion in both our computer and our Xcellent 25 rankings. We'll be in Texas to see some first-hand live, and plus, we'll be in California too with other guys heading out to the CIF bowl games and the rest of the state still playing. So appreciate the love. That's Zack Poff. I'm Steve Montoya. Blame him for all the rankings.
Bring the heat, baby.